Okay, we are live. Perfect. We're live on both YouTube and on Instagram. Welcome, you guys. I wasn't so sure if this was going to work because we do have really bad storms going on right now. Power's been knocked out all over the place. So we actually do still have power. So we're going to roll with it while we have power. Hopefully it will stick around and we'll be okay through the whole live feed. But if I happen to cut out or something like that, you know why. Welcome, you guys. Pull up our shows for today while we're waiting for everybody to log on. We have a couple of shows to go over today. Welcome to everyone on Instagram and on YouTube. As always, we'll give it a couple minutes for you guys to get logged on. And if you want to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits, and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. I was a little bit concerned about getting on live tonight because of the storms going on outside, but it looks like we're going to be okay. So we're going to keep rolling. Hopefully we won't lose signal and we can keep going through the whole thing. We haven't lost power yet, so cross your fingers. That will be okay. Typically we do if we have a big storm. We're one of the first people to go out. It's all these big trees and stuff out here, but we're doing all right so far. So my husband actually came home from his office early because they lost power. So he wasn't even able to keep his food and stuff. So we're doing all right here, though. Welcome, you guys. Tonight we're going to touch on the Portugal show. Big Man, I think is what it was called. What was it called? Evolution, Big Evolution. What is it? Something. Mr. Big Evolution Pro. That's it. Portugal. We're going to touch on that tonight. And we're going to go over some interesting things about that show. And then we're going to go into Republic of Texas to end out. We're going to talk about both bikini and wellness in both shows. Just kind of, again, we're just going to touch on the Portugal one. And I'm going to go into a little bit more details of what we're going to talk about with Portugal. And then we'll go to Texas. Welcome, you guys. Give it a few more seconds for me to get on here. And then coming up this weekend, we have pro shows coming up this weekend. So we'll do a preview tomorrow. We'll do this coming weekend's pro shows this coming weekend tomorrow. All right, let's get into it. Now that we got a good decent number of people on each one. So I want to touch on the Mr. Big Evolution Pro. It was a big show over in Portugal. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on the show because I'm not familiar with a lot of the competitors. We have a whole crop and slew of competitors coming in that are becoming very good from Europe. These shows are becoming stacked. And I know I don't like that word, but with that said, these shows are big. The main reason why is I think this is what's happening is over the last few years, the IFBB in Europe is relatively new. It's only been around, I think it was it 2017 this stuff started going down. So it's only a few years old. So they've got some new pros and things like that, right? But because of all of the pandemic situation, they haven't been able to have shows like we typically do. So, we here in the States have 3 shows a weekend, you know what I mean? So they don't have that over in Europe. So what you're going to find is that these girls and guys that have been chomping at the bit to want to compete, they're all going to get into these shows. So when the pro shows first started happening in Europe, it was almost like girls from here in the States, and guys too, would go over there thinking it was an easy win, because a lot of times it was. A lot of times it was an easy win. So, they would go over there and they'd be doing okay here in the States. And then they would go over to Europe and they would get top 5, so they'd win shows. That is not the case anymore. The competition is just as stiff in Europe now as it is here in the States. So a perfect example of that is this Portugal show that just happened this past weekend, right? So in wellness, there was, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 girls in wellness over in Portugal. 23. And then when you look at, Figure had 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Figure had 21. And then Bikini had 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 girls. 29 girls in the bikini division in Portugal. So it is no longer like a sure bet to go to Europe and win a show if you're from the States. It's just not. Because now you've got all these European competitors sitting there for 2 years, wanting to get on stage, not able to. And now they are, and they're killing it. I mean, they're killing it. So, you see some of those European competitors come over here to the States and they translate okay here over in the States, but the more that they come here, the better they get. And I bring that up because I wanted to touch on a couple of people specifically from the Portugal Pro. Now, I took a look through the wellness girls. So I'm going to talk about wellness first. And again, I don't know these girls. I don't know them at all, right? Yeah, they had a good off season. That's right. That's exactly right. They had a good rest the last couple of years. They're ready to kill it right now. So I took a look through the wellness girls and things like that, just the comparisons, really. I looked at the first call out. Now, also, Tyler was head judge over here at this show, so it's not like they had different standards or anything like that. This is good. This is good judging right here. Okay, so just looking through the top four, I thought that the girls in the top four for wellness were a very good representation of wellness. Now, I actually think the top two girls were a little bit too lean, in my opinion, but they had more muscle, more size than the girl that came in third. I personally like the aesthetic look of the girl that came in third, which is Lyanna. I liked her aesthetic, her physique better, but she was a little bit on the smaller side and her tan was really, really off. I feel like if she had come in with a different tan, I would have liked her best. That's me personally. She's, again, a little bit on the softer side, not as conditioned as the top two, but the top two had some feathering in their quads and things like that. And I'm not a huge fan of that for wellness. I don't want to see that kind of conditioning personally. I like Leonida's conditioning better, but I understand from a size perspective why the top two girls were in the top two. And then I also understand it from the tan perspective because this Leonida girl, her tan was really bad. It was like a greenish color. And the lighting in this show was not good to begin with. As far as the pictures are concerned, it's very shadowed. Makes the girls look leaner than they actually are in a lot of cases. But the tan was just bad. And her suit was a teal color too, which did not help. It kind of blended in with that tan. So I feel like if she'd come in with a little bit of a deeper color that matched the other girls on stage, she may have ended up in that top two or even the first place position. I would have liked to see her in the first place position because of her overall aesthetic. But the girl that came in first and the girl that came in second were very comparable. Very comparable in their roundness and their fullness and their shape and their size, all of those kinds of things. They had the polish down as far as the tan is concerned and everything as well. The one thing I wasn't a huge fan of is I saw in some of these comparison shots, I saw some feathering in the quads. And for me, I feel like that's a little bit too far for wellness. So I don't know what their feedback was or anything like that, but that's just what I saw from the pictures. And again, these pictures are very, very shadowed. So the girls that are lean look extra lean, right? So that is across the board on these pictures. And I didn't see any of the video. I know they had a live stream. I didn't realize they had a live stream until the show was over, or I would have watched it because I want to get to know some of these European shows, but I'm not sure how it looked on the live stream. So before we go into Bikini on this, I wanted to talk about that a little bit. The production level of these shows in Europe is off the chain. It is so good. And this is something that they've been doing for the last couple of years. The Romania show, the Spain show, they all do a really, really good job with the production. They make it a show. Like if you watched any of the stories and videos that were coming out from the Portugal show, like they had the girls up on the rotating stage. They were in their poses. The stage was like rotating around. Like it was an actual show. And I thought that was so cool. For those of you ladies that work with me that are part of my sponsored ladies, I put up a little note in our group today. I'm thinking about putting together a little cuties trip over to Europe next year and do a couple of back-to-back shows. So I just want to experience that. I think that their shows are amazing. Yeah, right, Devin? I love it. So if you're one of my girls, keep that in your back of your head for next summer. I'd like to do like a couple that end up being back-to-back because like for these ones, we had Spain and we had Portugal within, back-to-back shows. So we could do something like that where we could go over there. just to experience it. Now, again, not going over there to try and freaking win the whole thing, because again, these are not easy shows to win anymore. But you never know, that could happen too. But just to have the experience, just to be a part of that, I think it's really awesome what they're doing with those shows over there, and I'd like to see some more of that over here too. So yeah, let's go, right? Yeah, it would be. I think it would be great. And personally, just so you guys know, I've never been to Europe. I've never been. I want to go. I wanted to do this a few years ago, but again, we had the whole pandemic thing happen, and that put the kibosh on that. So I'm thinking maybe if we organize something, we need to start talking about it now if we're going to do it next year, because we got to organize all the travel and things like that. So I think that'd be really, really cool. So once the actual schedule for next year comes out, I think we should all sit down and kind of work that out, because again, these freaking productions are crazy, and I think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic, and I want to be a part of it. So that's it. I just want to be a part of it. I want to be on the rotating stage. So that's all. So yeah, I think it would be great. So keep that in the back of your heads for next year. And whatever shows end up being back to back, you can kind of try and plan around them. So that's what I'm thinking. So while we're still on the topic of this Portugal show, let's go over to Bikini. Again, I'm not going to go through a lot of these girls here because I don't know them, but if we look at the top two here in Portugal, they were also the top two that just happened in Spain. So it's the same two girls, so they obviously are doing very well. And I wanted to mention Ivana Eskandar, super sweet girl. She started competing over here in the States last year. I think her first show here in the States last year was the Chicago Pro, I believe. And she was top 5 there. And from that point on, she's been top 5. She's never been out of the top 5. Super cute girl, super pretty, amazing aesthetics. Like, she reminds me a lot of Maureen, like Kisco. Like Maureen's like the sexy version of Ivana. Like Ivana's like the cute version, and then Maureen's like the sexy version, if that makes sense. But they have very similar aesthetics. Their physiques, they're both shorter, smaller girls. Really, really great look. And I think people are really sleeping on Ivana because she has now won 4 shows in a row. She won here in the States. She won Legions. And what else did she win? What was the other one that she won? She won a second one here in the States. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And now she's won Spain and she's won Portugal. This girl's going to be a force to be reckoned with, right? So I think that she's going to be a serious contender at the Olympia. So you guys got to watch out for this girl. Super cute girl. So this particular show, I thought was a great look for her. It's hard for me to critique physiques in this particular show because of the lighting being so shadowed. She looked like her normal self. She looked really pretty lean in her upper body, but again, it's a shadowed lighting. So I don't think that translates to what the judges actually saw. I don't think she looked as lean as we're seeing in the photos. She's nice and full and round and pop of the glutes and all of that. She's just really well put together. I would like to see her trim her hair. Her hair's a little bit long, so I'd like to see her trim her hair because I think she put the curls in it to try to make it a little shorter, but it still needs to be like another inch shorter or so from there. So I'd like to see her hair a little bit shorter, and I'm not a huge fan of these kinds of curls in her. I like a little bit of a softer, more put together curl that she has done before. I thought was a cleaner look. This is a little bit messy for me. It kind of hides her face a little bit, in my opinion. So I'd like to see that off her face a little. If she can get it off her face, I'm okay with the tighter curls in the back. But just for me, she just had some shadowing on her face from her hair, and I want to be able to see her face more. But overall, really, really pretty package. Love the red suit on her and everything too. So I think it was a really good job on her part. Just gotta get that hair a little bit shorter. But other than that, she's doing a good job. And then Christina Brunauer, I don't know how to pronounce that. She's from Australia. And again, she was top 2 last week too. Again, really nice full round package. She looks super lean in these photos, but again, I don't think that is translating from the stage lighting, kind of in the photo lighting. She needs some help on her posing. Posing's a little bit wonky, specifically her front pose. Back pose is fine. I would probably relax the elbows a little bit in her back pose, or a little bit chicken winging. So I'd probably relax those a little. But her front pose needs to level out. She's uneven in her in her shoulders. And that wasn't just her individual, that was also in comparisons, because I looked through that. That's one thing a lot of these European competitors, they're getting there as far as the posing standards, but the posing standards are a little behind on a lot of these European competitors. Like they're just not posing to be competitive if they're here in the States. But that's across the board in Europe, so it doesn't really hurt them much because everybody's doing it there. So if you look at how Ivana actually posed, Ivana poses like, ooh, my light almost fell on top of me. That's gonna be a problem. Hold on, 1 second. Okay, I tried to tighten that. That's just a little bit. I was like, oh, my light's gonna fall. Anyway, so if you look at Ivana's posing, Ivana has competed here in the States, and she's won shows here in the States. So she understands the posing and the posing standards here in the States. These girls over there have got to kind of get up to speed. Some of them are, some of them are not. And that's just going to be something that improves over time, right? One girl that everybody was watching going over to Portugal was Lyanna Gianna. So she's the one that kind of exploded onto the scene this year here in the States. Placed top 4 in Pittsburgh, has been doing pretty decent every show she's been in. However, I think her body's a little tired. She was much softer than the other girls that she was up against here in this particular lineup. And going back to the lighting and everything at the show, you can still tell she was soft. You know, even though I think the lighting made these girls look a lot leaner than they actually were in real life, she was still a little bit soft. And for her, she carries some muscle on her legs, you know. So if she's a little soft in those legs, they kind of overpower. I'm just seeing a little bit of a film on her. It looks like a little bit of water on her. To me, it just looks like her body's a little bit tired. And she's been competing since Pittsburgh. You know, I think she took like 4 weeks off or something like that. But when you're competing that much, 4 weeks is not a lot, you know. And if you look at her back shot, she has a few little tanning errors. Like there's some muddiness in her tan, some swatchiness in her tan. She's another one where I felt like her hair was covering her face way too much. I want to see your face, you guys, when you're on stage. I don't like the middle part so much. The middle part ends up looking a little bit bleh. I like a side part that's a little bit more glam when you're on stage. And I like the hair off the face. I want to be able to see your face, right? You can do whatever you want to your hair. I mean, obviously we talk about Jazzy and her big curls and everything. I think it's fantastic on her, but it's not covering her face. I just don't like it when I can't see her smile, I can't see her eyes, things like that. And I felt like that happened here. Her face was very dark. It was very shadowed, and I couldn't see it because her hair was covering it. So, that's right. She started a girl power. That's right, because she went from 15th place to 4th. You're correct. That's right. So she's been going since April. So I think it's probably time for her to kind of shut it down a little for more than 4 weeks. Give herself some time. You know, it's hard because she came out, you know, gangbusters. Everyone's like, who's this girl? You know, after she places 4th next to Olympians, you know, in Pittsburgh. So I get it. I understand why you want to keep pushing. But if your body's kind of telling you need to put the brakes on a little, probably need to put the brakes on a little. And that's what it looks like to me. It looks like her body just needs a break. So that's what I would do if I was her. You know, and again, I'm sure she has a strategy put together with her coach and things like that, but maybe take a break until, you know, at the end of fall or something. Get herself some more points, try to win a show, that kind of thing, because she's very, very close to that. But I think if she keeps pushing right now, I think it's going to be like the law of diminishing returns. I think she needs a couple of months off at least. Just give herself a little bit of time. A little bit of time. She doesn't need to go crazy. Just a little bit of time to let her body relax and reset, just so she can come out at her best. So I don't think she's actually hit her peak other than what she did at Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh was her best. I think the travel doesn't help with the water retention. No, it does not. Same happened with the girl from amateur Olympian Korea. Yeah, so that happens a lot too with travel. That's something you gotta be careful of. You know, I know, you know, going overseas is hard because you're in the air for, you know, whatever, 15 hours or however long your travel actually is. A lot. You know, a lot of these girls, when they do travel overseas, will give themselves plenty of extra time to drop the water. But to me, that doesn't look like what this is. I think it's a stressed out body. I think it's a body that needs a break. That's what it looks like to me. Because typically, if you're retaining water from flying or something like that, it'll all be in your legs, or it'll all be in your waistline, or something like that. She overall, just even her upper body looks soft. So to me, that's a stressed out body. That's not a I'm holding water body, right? I could be wrong. Again, this is just what I'm seeing, and I'm just going off of pictures and stuff like that I've seen. But that's what it looks like to me. It just looks like she needs a little bit of a break. And again, it doesn't need to be a long one. She doesn't need to build or anything like that. She just needs to give her body a chance to reset. So anyway, a lot of people were talking about her going over there like this was going to be an easy win for her. It wasn't, obviously. It's just going overseas is not a surefire win anymore, you guys. It's just not. You're going to be up against some tough competition. And I'll be honest with you too. A lot of these European girls come in very, very conditioned. They do. They come in very, very lean. So if you're not looking like that, you're not going to compare well to them, right? It's a different look. It just is. They're getting closer to the U.S. standards because they have the same judges. But you have to remember that the judges can only judge what shows up. They can only judge what shows up that day. And in general, we see that a lot of the European competitors come out and they are very lean. So if you are not that person, if you don't get super lean, it may not be the right show for you. It may not be the right solution for you. So, just some things to keep in mind with that. Okay, so let's move over to Republic of Texas. Where are we at here? There we go. Okay. So I caught bits and pieces of this, caught the bits and pieces of the live streams they had up because I was in the middle of clients. But wellness, Issa Maria, she won it. That's the only one that I kind of knew on this list because she was an previous Olympian. And I think that she definitely deserved that. Now, when we look at this wellness lineup in comparison to the wellness lineup that we just saw in Portugal, the look is very, very different. It's a little bit softer, it's a little bit rounder, it's a little bit fuller, all of that. And I personally like that look better, right? I like this look better than what we saw from the winners over in Portugal Pro. They don't have the feathering in their quads. They're round and full. That's what I like. I like the aesthetic look. This is what I was talking about that girl that took third over in Portugal, having a better aesthetic look. The girls here at this Republic of Texas have better aesthetic looks than just a bunch of mass really hard and lean conditioned, right? Right, Devin, yeah. Devin agrees. She's a wellness pro, so there you go. So I just like this look better. To me, the fuller look is just a healthier look. It's just a better look in general. I like it better. So that's what I'm sticking with. And if you look at the girl that came in second, Alejandra, there you go. She's tiny. She's tiny. I mean, she's a tiny girl. She's got plenty of muscle. Don't get me wrong. She's got plenty of muscle. But she's, in comparison to most people, she's tiny. She's teeny, teeny, tiny, right? She's got a great aesthetic. She's got a great look. I did catch a little bit of the video here, and the video definitely does these girls a whole lot more justice than the photos. I'll give them that much. So I actually really liked this girl's look a lot. I thought she looked really, really good. And again, I'm one of those people. I'm going to go for the aesthetic look over the extreme conditioning and muscularity, right? She's nice and tight everywhere. Short? Is she shorter than you? She looks like she's shorter than you. She's teeny. She's teeny tiny, And I think she's got a great look. Overall, I think she's got a great look. I'm not a huge fan of her suit top. I'll say that much because I saw that. It's not flattering on her. She needs a different suit top. She needs to pad it differently. So that's my 2 cents. And her suit bottoms were a little bit baggy in places too. So she just needs a different suit. I like the suit color, just not a fan of the suit cut personally. But again, aesthetic. She just looks aesthetic. Every one of these girls here in this top 5, I'm just like clicking through them now. This is the conditioning. This is the shape that I like for wellness. I think that these girls, I'm putting to the top 3 right now. Every one of them looks like that. I really like that look overall. Here we go to our fourth place finish. She's a little bit, to me, she's a little bit big. But again, she's got the conditioning that I'm looking for. I'd like to see her posing be cleaned up a little bit. The posing is a little bit wonky. She's got some funny transitions and things like that. But again, we don't see any feathering in the quads, which is good. She's nice and tight through those hamstrings and tie-ins, but not overly tight. She's full. She's round. I just like to see her posing probably get cleaned up a little bit because it doesn't flatter her the best with her posing here. So I'd like to see her get with somebody with that. And then 5th place, same thing. So I'm just, the waistlines are tight. They're not blown out. Their conditioning is attainable conditioning. It's not overly conditioning. We're not seeing feathering in the quads. We're not seeing super dry hamstrings. We're not seeing cuts and things like that. This is bikini conditioning on a wellness body, which is what wellness should be, in my opinion. So I just think that the judging here, and not even just the judging, but the competitors that showed up here are more online and on par with what we're looking for in this particular division. Again, going back to the European competitors, tend to come in leaner regardless. They tend to come in shredded. So if that's not your thing, if that's not your physique, if that's not your aesthetic, Europe may not be the best place for you to compete. And I personally like the stuff here in the States better. That's me. That's me personally. So just some things to think about when you're creating your strategies for your shows and things like that you're picking to actually compete in, right? And Devin agrees with me. So see, there we go. We're good. Yeah. So moving on, I thought this was really well judged. I thought this one went just how it should have, and I really like the top 5 here in the show. I think every one of them looks like a wellness competitor and what we want to see in wellness, right? Some of them need some posing tweaks and some suit tweaks and things like that, but overall the physique looks look great. So let's go to, which makes me happy. I like seeing that. I like being able to see a wellness show where we got some really good competition. That's good. Bikini. Okay. So again, Bikini was a huge show. Bikini is not getting any easier. And I'm going to go through the top 5. I did watch the live stream of the first call out and some of the second call out. I get on calls with clients. But I felt like this was a very tight show between first and second and between third and fourth. I didn't look at the scorecards. I don't know how it actually played out. But when I was looking between Aaron and Jessica, from the front, I had Jessica. From the back, I had Aaron. So that was me. I don't know how they actually placed with their scoring and things like that, but that's what I had. And then between Shelby and Malou, it was a really tight call between the two of them. Shelby was definitely improved from what I saw her do in Dallas, and Malou just looked fantastic too. So I think it was really a showdown between those top 4. But I agreed with pretty much all of the placings. I could have seen girls move up one space or down one space, that kind of thing. But relatively where they placed was right. So starting with Jordan in 5th. So I actually spoke to Jordan a little bit. So I already know what her feedback was. And she asked me initially what I thought. And what I said was exactly what the judges told her. So I thought she looked great. She's a brand new pro. So as she's moving along, she's trying to adjust to her feedback and things like that. And she said that she was told she was a little bit too lean. Nothing like another great t-shirt. Yes, good vibes. Yes. She was told she was a little bit too lean. And I said, yes, I would agree with that, specifically because of her quads. I think from the back, she's fine. But I think she carries more muscle in her quads than she does than the other top 4 or 5 girls in that lineup. So therefore, it just showed that she had more. She was leaner, and also she had too much glaze on. So I mentioned that. I said you were glazed too much, and you can't really tell in the photos, but you could of a live stream. And the glaze actually accentuated the fact that you were leaner and you had more muscle than everybody else in that top 4, top 5. And she explained the reason why they had so much glaze on her was because she was told in the past on previous feedback that she didn't have enough glaze on. Because she wasn't getting any pop from her muscle and she looked like dry, which is a thing. You've got to find a good balance on the glaze. You can actually ruin a physique with glaze, believe it or not. You can ruin a physique with too much or too little glaze. It's a thing. What I said was, I think the happy medium is to really glaze up your glutes, but not your quads, right? I think that's where it really showed that she had too much there, and it made her accentuate the fact that she had more muscle in her legs. Because from the back, I thought she was right on, so I wouldn't change anything there. It was just from the front, just the quads. But overall, I mean, the fact that she's doing as well as she is, consistently getting a little bit better each show, which is what you want to do as a competitor, is great as a brand new pro. She's doing fantastic. So I thought she was appropriately placed. I thought this was good. And I just work on trying to pull the quad muscle down just a little bit, not put quite so much glaze on. That's about it. Other than that, I think she's good. I think her conditioning is right where she needs to be. All of that. I wouldn't go any higher or any lower. Just work on that muscle. So yeah, really good. Let's see. Going to 4th was Malou Duarte, and this girl's just beautiful. Beautiful girl, stunning girl when she walks on stage. You can't not look at her. Really, again, I want to point this out because I've mentioned this on a few of these girls with the hair. She has her hair off her face. She has this bright, beautiful face, smile, everything like that, because her hair isn't covering her, right? So this is what I was talking about before. I don't want to see your hair in your face because it just masks that, right? You get so much oomph and so much it factor from your face, and that's all right here. Which her hair's back. It looks great. Really nice and tight through the waistline. Really good proportion. She's got longer legs for being a small frame. She's got longer legs, but she's got very good proportion top to bottom. So and she's posing well too. That helps, obviously. And from the back, I'd like to see a little bit more pop, a little bit more oomph to her glutes, where she ended up in 4th versus 3rd. Her glutes just weren't popped. She needs a little bit more size. Just overall, I'd like to see her a little bit bigger. I'd like to see some more size in her glutes, and I'd like to see some more size through her upper back and her shoulders. Keep her waistline tight, because she's got that longer legs. Trust me, I understand. It's the proportion. She's not a big girl. She's not a tall girl. But proportion-wise, she's got longer legs. So she needs to fill those glutes out a little bit more with some more muscle. That's what I would say. But overall, really stunning look. So this is something that she could easily fix with a little bit of time. Front here, give me a second. Is there anything else that I missed? I don't think so. Yeah, I just like to see a little bit more size put on her. That's about it. Because she does have that wider rib cage look too. So if she wants to put a little bit more size into her back and her shoulders and into her glutes, that's going to minimize that rib cage look that she's got there, and she can still keep her waistline tight if she's got a little bit more size on her. So that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see a little bit more size. Overall, just a little bit more size. Let's see. Shelby. So I felt like this was probably one of the best looks I've seen on Shelby so far. Nice and round and full. Glutes looked phenomenal. I really had a hard time with even her dropping out of 2nd or so because of her glutes. Her glutes look great. What I would say is that she just needs to probably put a little bit of size onto her shoulders in order to get up into that first place position, because her shape looks really, really good. Really, the only place that I can see where she's lacking is we need some more size in the shoulders, need some more roundness in the shoulder. Because I actually really love how full and round she looks from the front with her waistline and her glutes and everything. Like, that's a really pretty aesthetic right there. And I'd like to see that same fullness that she's got there and roundness in her shoulders. Like, her shoulders look a little bit striated, right? So if she was able to put a little bit more roundness there, that would match from top to bottom. And I think that would be right on. Because I just like, I mean, everything about her fullness in her, from her waistline to her lower body, her whole lower body, that pop and that round there is perfect. Like, I wouldn't even think about that. I just want to see the same thing from her shoulders, and I think that would be right smack dab what she needs on the movie shows. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. I do like the straight hair on her. Now, she's one of the few people that does the middle part. I told this in Dallas. I said, you're one of the few people that can do the middle part and it works for you. It works for her. Most people it doesn't, but it works for her. She did a great job. So it's just, that's her look, and that works. So for some people, there's always going to be an exception to the rule, and there's your exception right there. Okay, we're going to go back and we're going to go to Jessica. So this is great. Jessica was 7th her last show, the Patriots. Definitely an improved look here. Jessica always looks really good. It's just a matter of getting that right on. I'm sure that her feedback again was probably her glutes. I think from the front, she has one of the best front bikini poses in the league. I do. I just think she's really well balanced from top to bottom. It's very hard to find somebody that has a better front pose than hers. Her front pose is always on. Hey, what's up, Jessica? Actually, if you'd like to put in your judging feedback here, that'd be fantastic. I should have reached out to you before the live feed and asked you what your feedback was. Let's see. Back shots. Yeah, always the same thing. I mean, back shot looks great. I'd just like to see a little bit more. Just a little bit more glutes. A little bit more glutes. I'm here just multitasking on a work thing and so plugged in. I love it. I love it. It's great. That's why we're here. So feel free to nail the feedbacks. Thank you. Appreciate that. And I was thinking about this too, Jessica. I'm just going to throw this out there. You might want to try a smaller suit cut in the back and a darker color. I noticed this a lot in your photos when I'm looking at the comparisons, that your suit bottom just looks bigger than everybody else's. So just something that you might want to try. I know this is like your signature look, and I get that. I understand that. So you may not want to change that. But I'm thinking maybe if you went with just a touch smaller and darker on the color versus that bright color there, that might help you. Last shows were overpowering, aka too much junk in the trunk. That's funny. Well, I think when you're on with your conditioning and things like that, I think you're. What I mean, it's like if your conditioning is a little off, then it's going to show up in the glutes. But I think if your conditioning is on, if you bring in a package like this and maybe try a darker suit color, doesn't even have to be a different color, just a little bit darker, that might help with the overall look from the back. Because again, it's just a matter of showing a little bit more, I think. And I see you in comparisons next to everybody else. It just looks like your suit bottom is bigger. And I think it's because it's the lighter color. So everybody say hi, Jessica. Everybody say hi. And that's one of the tiniest suit bottoms. It was made specifically for my tiny ass. Well, hey, maybe do the same size suit bottom and do a deeper color. Maybe try that. We don't want to reinvent the wheel here. This works for you, obviously. You know what I mean? But take a look at your comparison shots and see if you see what I'm talking about. Maybe go in a deeper color would help. Stay in the same green, tealish color zone, but go just a little bit darker. Say hi to Jessica. Jessica saying hi to you. I love it. But that's really it. I mean, I was watching you this weekend. Yeah, she's got fantastic stage presence. And again, like I was saying before, she's got one of the best front poses in the league, in my opinion. So just going to match that back. Noted. I see it for sure. Good. Yeah, I mean, just try it. You never know. Might help. And if it doesn't, you can always go back, that one thing. So, yeah. Great package, great look. Love seeing you back on stage. That's fantastic. And then we're going to go to our winner, which is Erin Stern. Now, if you remember, I mentioned I had Erin for my bet as far as winning. She's just been increasingly getting better throughout the year, which is great. That's exactly what you should be doing. That's what your strategy should be as a pro. You just want to get a little bit better every single show. And that's, I feel like she did here. Now, again, I had Jessica winning from the front because Jessica's front pose is just phenomenal. There's nothing wrong with Erin's. It's just hard to beat Jessica. I think it really feels so good to be there and be with everyone. I freaking love this. That's awesome. Love it. That's great. So again, I don't think there was anything wrong with Erin's front pose at all. I just felt, again, I just like Jessica's better. I love how far Erin has come since she started in bikini. Yeah, she's definitely completely changed her physique, completely. And completely changed her posing too. You guys know I started critiquing her on her presentation and on her posing when she first started in bikini, and it was bad. She's gotten so good now. She is a student, you guys. She is a student, and she comes back better every time she gets on stage. And that's what it's about. If you're getting better, you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what she's done over the last 2 years. Now, one of the things that I had an issue with in Miami with her, she took second in Miami to Sierra. I felt like her glutes were overpowering in Miami. They were too much. Here, she nailed it. Here, she was right on. They were not too big. They were not too full. They were not too round. Like, it was just like when she was in Miami, it was just all glutes and nothing else, right? Here, she is balanced. She's very well balanced. She has a nice pop to it. She's not too lean. And she adjusted her back pose a little bit. If I remember correctly, she was posing a little bit closer with her feet in Miami, and she's a little bit wider, just a touch wider here. Has her toes right underneath her shoulders. There's a much more aesthetic look with her back pose. And just that little bit of a tweak on a back pose can make all the difference in your glutes. So I think that was part of it. I mentioned this the last show too. She fixed her hair, from in New York, and she fixed her hair going to Miami. She did the same thing here. Great hair look. Did a great job with that. Overall, I do think this was probably the best package I've seen Erin put on stage. Let's take a look at her front pose really quickly. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I would really change about her front pose. Maybe twist her hip a little bit more, maybe, but that might end up making her look a little bit off. Maybe too glute heavy in the front if she does that. So I don't know. I think this is pretty good. I don't know if I would change anything. Like the suit, like I've loved the pink color on her since she wore it the first time. Love the suit color. Did a great job with the hair and makeup. Overall glam is on point. Overall presentation is on point. So yeah, I mean, I think she won the show. I wouldn't really change anything. I would just, whatever her feedback was, take it, because I don't see a whole lot that needs to be fixed here, right? Obviously we can always work on things. I'm sure she got some sort of feedback, but I'm struggling to find what it would be right now. I mean, honestly, I don't really know. Maybe, like I said, I'd like to see her maybe tweak her front pose a little bit. Because to me, I feel like she can make her waistline look a little bit smaller. But maybe she had done that, and it made her glutes look overpowering, because I could see that from this front pose. If it twists too much, I could see where her glutes might look overpowering if it twists too much. So I could be wrong on her adjusting that front pose. But I do think she could probably adjust it a little bit. I think that there's probably something in there that's a little bit better. So I'll probably just keep playing with that. I'm going to look at her back pose one more time and just see if there's anything else I see there. No, I think she did a great job on her back pose. Honestly, this is the best back pose I've seen from her. So I don't think I would change anything there either. Because like I said, when she was in Miami, her back pose glutes were overpowering, and now they're not. Now they're right on where they need to be. So I don't think there's anything I would really change there. I would just start playing with that front pose a little bit, right? And that brings us to the end of our show recap. I do want to mention Jasmine. You know, she competed in this show as well, looked phenomenal. And she's put out a live. If you didn't see it, she put out a live yesterday on her profile talking about what happened with her going into the show. So go take a look at that. Her next show up is Chicago. So next week, I think. Next week. But yeah, go take a look at her live that she put out because she explained it. She showed some photos, things like that, and kind of give you an idea of what happened with her peaking into the show. Initially, she looked great going into the show, and then she had some symptoms with her period and all of that coming on, which I know all about that. So I recorded her individual on the live, and she had a little bit of swooshing in her glutes and her hamstrings, and it all was just water retention. We were talking about this with Lyanna before about the water retention from traveling. This was different. You know, Jasmine's was different. I think that Lyanna's was more of a stressed out body. Jasmine's was more of a period body, you know? And it's so funny when I saw that swooshing in her glutes. So I was like, that happened to me. both in Dallas and in New York. And I got my period the night of Dallas, and I got my period the morning after, or the night, like after Dallas, that night is when I got my period. And then New York, the morning when I woke up, I got my period. So, got it. Understand. I was talking to Jasmine all week this week, and I was like, I really got to plan my shows around my cycle. Thankfully, my cycle is incredibly, incredibly predictable. So I just know I got to plan my shows around it now at this point. I just know that. So, things we have to deal with being women that men don't have to deal with. At least we're healthy, right? Our cycles are there. We're healthy, right? So, any questions, you guys? I want to leave it open for questions for a few minutes before we finish up for this evening. But like I said, I'll do a preview of next week tomorrow. So we'll do a live feed tomorrow, and we'll talk about this coming weekend. We got going on. While I'm waiting to see if any questions come in, next this weekend we are home, but we have a Sundays with Shawn because we have Masters Nationals coming up this coming week. Next weekend. And we have a bunch of girls competing in Masters Nationals as well as Worlds. So we'll be there all weekend. We head up on Thursday, and we'll be there till Monday because the pros go on Sunday, right? I'm getting all these shows, getting them all confused because North Americans just moved up a day, so North Americans is off by a day with Masters. So anyway, we'll be at Masters next week. Then we have a local show, Clash of the Titans, at the end of this month. Then we have Tampa. So if you're going to Tampa, let me know. I'm going to try and put together a photo shoot like I do every year for Tampa. I don't know if Zach is going to be at Tampa this year or not because he's not living there anymore. So I'll take a look and see what I can do with that. In Nashville. I will be at Masters Nationals. Yes, Nadia, I approved your question in our sponsored group today. I didn't realize it was in there, and I just saw it. So I approved your question. So go check. You've got a couple of answers on there. So go check that out. And there, cannot wait to be there and cheer. And yes, Pros Sunday. Yes. So the cool thing about the Masters Nationals is that if you win your pro card, Friday or Saturday, that kind of thing, you can turn around and do your pro debut on Sunday. So keep that in mind. If you're going up there, go up there with the intention of competing on Sunday. I would do it if you win your pro card. I would absolutely 100% do it. You eliminate costs of travel and hotels again. You know what I mean? So you got that. I have a few pros that are already in it. If you're doing like hair and makeup with me or whatever, we can extend that for, we can put you in onto the schedule that day. But I would 100% do that. Yoi did that last year. She won a pro card and went directly in and did her pro debut the following day. It was great. She ended up placing well. And and got good feedback to what she needed to do for her off season. We need to do the show as always. Yes. Yeah, right? Yes, fingers crossed, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yes, we will be there. So, Nadia, just to give you an idea, most of our cutie girls are staying over at the secondary host hotel, which is the Wynn. Because the last time I didn't check today, the last time I checked, they did still have rooms available. So do that. And then we'll be relatively all in the same place. So either, the main host hotel, which sells out immediately, which is why I'm not in there. I went and checked. They did have rooms available for like $900 a night. I'm like, we're not doing that. I love you guys, but not that much. So we're at the secondary host hotel at the Wyndham. So it's right down the street. If you wanted to walk back and forth, you could, but I wouldn't do that as a competitor when you got tan on, that kind of thing. The good thing about Pittsburgh is that there are a bunch of hotels within about a five-minute Uber, which last year I stayed at a little boutique hotel. I walked back and forth because I was able to get my steps in that way, which was fantastic. I went to go look there for this year, and they bumped their rates up like 3 times what they were last year. I guess they figured out that all of us competitors were going there. It was a great hotel. It was right across the river, really cute. Like, I actually really enjoyed staying there, and I went in, but not for 3 times the price. So it's a secondary hotel for that one. So that's that. So we've got that coming up, like I said, and then we've got the local show the following, or 2 weeks after that. Then we'll be at Tampa. We'll be there for the whole Tampa show too, because Masters Pros go on Thursday. So I'm actually going in on Wednesday for Tampa. So if you are a Masters Pro planning on competing there, need makeup, I'm there. I got you. I'm there for the Masters Pros too. So, then, like I said, Nashville. We got Nashville after that. Yeah, I hear you. Thank you all on Facebook. Perfect. Awesome. And then Nashville, which I'm really looking forward to. I used to live in Nashville. And actually where the show is this year is right down the street from where I used to live, which is pretty cool. So I used to live right downtown Nashville. So I'm excited about getting back there, seeing some of my friends and stuff. I'm actually staying an extra day so I can see some friends. What else? That's it. So, yeah. Been a fun week. Any other questions? I think we're good. I haven't seen any questions come in, so I want to make sure that I answer the questions that may come up. Overall, the competition is getting very fierce. This is, like I said, this is the time frame of the year when these shows get deep. These shows get super deep. We start getting new pros on the scene, and then we've got pros that have been, taking off seasons coming in. I mean, it's gonna be a barn burner for the next few months. So it's gonna be fun. It's fun to watch. And I get to watch while I eat too, because I'm not competing. All y'all in prep kids, suck it. Anyways, you guys, that's how we're going to sign off for tonight. We'll be back again tomorrow, and I will do a preview for this coming weekend, tomorrow night at 8:15, same time. If you have any questions or if you want to come work with me, you know how to reach me at suitsandposing.com. And you can, Jennifer, you're one of them that can go suck it because you're actually in prep. Anyway. I lost my train of thought. And everything that you could possibly need is in my link tree here on my profile on Instagram. So go and click down on that. You can pick out your shows if you want to book your show makeup. Every one of our shows for the remainder of the year are in there now. Posing's in there, all that kind of stuff. That's the best place to go to find what you need to find. To watch the replays of these lives, you can watch them on Instagram or on YouTube. I personally think that they are easier to watch on YouTube than they are on Instagram, but you can watch them at either place. Please subscribe on our YouTube as well. If you do that, if you subscribe on our YouTube, you will get notifications reminding you that we're going live. So that way you'll know that we're on. Okay? And I always update my stories, but that way you'll get actually sent a notification that tells you. Okay, that's it. I'm going to let you guys go for tonight. I'll see you back here tomorrow night. I'm going to end out YouTube first. And have a good night. There we go. And now Instagram.